Much like we use the command zeros to create double arrays of a given dimension, the command cell can be used to create a cell array of a specified dimension. Here are two equivalent ways to create a cell array of dimension n1 by n2. When you do this, the contents of each cell will be a 0 by 0, in other words, empty double array. So this command, cell 34, produces this result: a cell array of dimension 3 by 4, the contents of which each cell is an empty double. Now, the way we've been visualizing this on the slides, we would draw it like this: a vertical and horizontal concatenation of 12 cells, and the contents of each cell is an empty double array. Now that E's been created, how can we fill its cells with contents? Recall that for both reference and assignment, curly brackets are associated with contents, while parentheses are associated with the array elements, the cells. Think about the task of putting the array 789 in the contents of the 1,1 container of E. Here's one way to do that. The left-hand side indicates a contents assignment in the 1,1 cell, and the value of that should be the array 789. This produces the result as we desired. Alternatively, let's try to assign the array 2025 as the 1,2 container of E. Here, the 1,2 element of E, which is a cell, is assigned the value 2025. This results in an error, and Matlab says that the conversion to cell from double is not possible. Let's look at this from a slightly different point of view. Let's assign a cell whose contents is the array 2025 as the 1,2 element of E. Here's the command to do that. The 1,2 element of E is assigned a cell whose contents is the array 2025. This achieves the goal, and the array 2025 is now the contents of the 1,2 element of E. How is this assignment different? Well, let's stop and think about the different meaning of the curly brackets on both sides of this assignment. On the left-hand side, they mean a contents assignment. The contents of the 2,1 cell of E are being assigned the right-hand side, whatever it is. On the right-hand side, the curly brackets are simply putting the array 2025 into a cell. This gives the result that the contents of the 2,1 cell of E is in fact a 1 by 1 cell. Here we see it more visually. The contents of the 2,1 cell of E are themselves a cell array. This is different from the 1,1 and 1,2 entries of E, where the contents are simply double arrays. Take a few minutes to execute these examples that we've analyzed in your own Matlab session. In a few slides, we'll have a quiz to test your understanding. Like all arrays in Matlab, we can simply assign beyond the current boundaries, and that grows the array. Let's return to our 1 by 3 array class info and try to assign something in the contents of the 2,1 cell. There is no 2,1 cell, so we're assigning beyond the boundaries. This grows the array, and it's now 2 by 3. We can now assign to the contents of the 2,2 cell as well as the 2,3 cell, and it remains 2 by 3. Let's try this in Matlab to confirm this behavior. Let's start by creating the familiar array class info. Now let's assign something to the contents of its 2,1 entry, which is assigning beyond its boundaries. Notice that now it's grown to be 2 by 3. The contents of the 2,1 entry is the new name, and in order to maintain a rectangular array, it's created the 2,2 and 2,3 entries, and they are just filled with empty doubles. Now we can fill them. The behavior is as expected. Another alternative is vertical concatenation of the individual students' 1x3 cell array records. Here's the 1x3 cell array record of student 1 and a corresponding cell array record for student 2. And vertical concatenation creates a 2x3 cell array of the two students' records. The size of this will be 2x3, and it's identical to the cell array constructed above, where we assign beyond the boundaries. Curly brackets also define a special cell concatenation operator. Let's look at this expression. Here's how we interpret it. The first curly bracket declares start stacking objects, but place each object within a cell before stacking. Commas represent horizontal concatenation or new column, as usual. Semicolons represent vertical concatenation, a new row, and so on. And finally, the trailing curly bracket declares end the stacking, creating a cell array. Remember that a cell array is an array of containers, and each container has contents. Now this is exactly the same as something we've already seen before. The square bracket operator to simply start stacking, and then notice that here each object has been placed in a container with the single curly construction that we learned earlier. A curly bracket around an object automatically placed that object in a cell array or a container. So here we've achieved exactly the same objective. We started stacking, and as we found each object, we placed it in a container and then did the concatenation in the manner described by the commas and semicolons. We'll test your understanding of this with an upcoming quiz where we'll look at the following three variables.